Hello everyone, you should be on exercise 21 on the drum side of the percussion book, the drum side, or the snare drum side. Number 21 is called The Whole Thing, and we're going to practice this one alternating between right and left hand, as it says there, and we're also going to introduce something new. This something new is a new way to play a note on the drums. So we're not just working with quarter notes, half notes, and whole notes anymore, or rests. We are now working with a different way to hit the drum. Before, we've been playing just regular quarter notes, half notes, and whole notes by holding our stick with a nice grip, wrist towards the sky, and our 2 fingers pinching, 3 fingers not out like this, but loosely underneath, not grabbing the stick. And the reason why that's important is going to become especially clear on this exercise. So we've just been hitting the percussion by raising the wrists. Make sure you don't move the whole arm. Raise the wrists and strike in a downward fashion. It's almost like a whipping motion with your wrists. Let me show you that one more time. Up position, down position. And again, these 3 fingers are nice and loose underneath. Now, in order to get this new type of sticking in for number 21, the whole thing, these multiple bounce quarter notes are going to require us to not have such a tight grip with our 2 fingers. So we're definitely not gripping with these 3 fingers, but we're loosening our grip up here. And now when we strike the drum pad in a nice downward motion, nice decisive downward motion, it's going to bounce multiple times. So up position, nice and low wrists, tops of hands still towards the sky. And then when you go down with that loose grip between the thumb and the pointer finger, it's going to bounce multiple times. Just like that. And you're going to let it rest in a downward position. Let me show you one more time. Loose fingers down here, thumb right there. On the side, there's no gap here, so you're not putting a gap between your pointer finger and your thumb. You are having your normal grip here, about 1/3 the way up the stick, and you're doing a nice whipping motion like this, but you're loosening that grip slightly so that it bounces multiple times. There we go. Let's try the left hand. If the right hand was easy for you, the left hand might be tricky because most of us are right-handed. So let's try this one. Again, same grip, no gap between the thumb and first finger, thumb on the side, wrist towards the sky, fingers floating underneath. Up position, down. Now, if yours sounds like this, and it's just kind of just hits once, that tells me a couple of things. One, we might not be leaving our stick down towards the drum head. It should almost be pushed down towards the drum head when you come down with that first strike, so that the stick wants to remain kind of sitting on the drum head. And then when it's done bouncing, you kind of lift it off again. Or if it's doing this sort of thing and you're not getting a bounce, that might mean that we're gripping too tight. Because if we're gripping too tight, it's not going to bounce. Or that might mean that we're grabbing underneath. Or one other thing, it could be that we are moving just from our arms here, and our whole arm is moving up and down with the stick and not from the wrist. We want that wrist action with our forearms and our elbows kind of tucked in, because that's going to give us that nice decisive motion that's going to get it to bounce multiple times. So looking at your first measure in the whole thing, we have these multiple bounce quarter notes, and on each of these, remember, quarter notes get 1 beat. On each of these quarter notes, you're going to let it bounce multiple times. So this first measure is normally going to sound like this. 1, 2, here I go. And then you move on to measure 2. So try that once with me. And you know what? We're going to go right away and just try going through the song once at this nice slow speed before speeding it up. So from the very beginning, make sure you have that good snare drum grip. 2 fingers pinching, 3 fingers floating, wrists towards the sky. Here we go. 1, 2, here we go. Right, left, 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 right, left. 2, 2. And watch out for those half notes towards the end of the song. Now, we're going to speed up this tempo because you should be able to play these multiple bounce quarter notes just as fast as regular quarter notes when playing a song. Otherwise, you're going to fall behind from the speed the rest of the band takes. So we want to make sure we're taking these at a nice fast tempo. So let's try it at this speed now. 1, 2, ready, go. Right, left, right, left. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you could even try that faster and faster until those buzz multiple bounce eighth notes are sounding just as fast as your regular quarter notes are. If you're still struggling with this, most important thing is make sure that these two fingers are pinching and creating a pivot point, almost like a seesaw. If you've ever seen a seesaw on a playground, you know that it has that center pivot point. That's your thumb and your pointer finger pinching that snare drum stick and allowing it to bounce like this. And then your other three fingers are just kind of like the ground beneath the seesaw, catching it from going too far. And then the drum head is the other part of the ground on the other side of the seesaw. So when you're bouncing, as long as you have that good pivot point in there, you're going to get a nice bounce. And again, if your right hand is too tight, it's going to sound like this. You're just not going to be able to get it to bounce. If it's too loose with that big gap right there, that's going to take forever to stop bouncing. So you want to find a good medium happy point and get those medium bounces in there, those multiple bounce quarter notes. All right, thank you for watching.